The thrilling story begins by showing a large school in America where many students' classes have ended and they are leaving the school. Suddenly, they all see a number of planes in the sky, and from these planes, a strange substance starts coming out, spreading all around. It is later discovered that these are very peculiar toxic gases spreading everywhere. Anyone coming into contact with this gas dies instantly. Before long, many lives are lost, and a large portion of the population is being wiped out. The government seems oblivious to this attack, unable to realize who is behind it. It now seems like even the government officials might be gone. The impact of the attack starts spreading across America and several continents. The population quickly halves, and resources are depleting one after another. Many people form their own groups to survive, creating their own rules and attacking other groups. Years pass in this manner, and we are introduced to a man named Mark. Mark is very tense because the resources in his home are all exhausted, and now he wants to move far from this place to take his wife, Mina, to her parents. Mark and Mina's relationship has not been very good. Although they are married, the tension between them has led them to consider divorce. Nevertheless, Mark understands the situation and is ready to help Mina. Mark's friend tries to explain that going outside at this time can be very dangerous because any groups they encounter on the way rob everyone and kill those who are of no use. However, Mark has decided that he will definitely take Mina to her parents to save her. Mark's friend helps him because he has made up his mind, but he also warns him about an important thing. If he encounters people dressed in white and ghost-like in appearance on the way, he should stay as far away from them as possible, as these groups are known as shit. The strangers they encounter attack and kill them. After planning all this, Mark puts some resources in his car and sets out with Mina in the direction of the map he has created. Although their journey is going to be very long, Mark is determined to get his wife to her parents. They continue driving in their car when they stop at a gas station to gather supplies. Mina remains in the car, trying to contact her parents with the help of the radio. While Mark is inside the gas station, some workers arrive. As soon as they enter, they are shot from behind. These attackers are none other than members of the shit gang, who wear white clothing. Mark's friend had warned him about the dangers posed by these people. Mark manages to escape from the gas station, and although the gang members spot him, he quickly drives away with Mina. For now, they are safe. They continue traveling and eventually reach an abandoned house. Upon checking inside, they discover that a couple had been murdered, likely by the same gang members. They decide to stay there for the night, as it seems to be the safest option. Mina repeatedly tries to find out if her parents are safe, while Mark keeps reassuring her, as she is his ex-wife. The scene then shifts to an unknown old man standing outside the house, watching them, indicating that he knows Mark and Mina are there. The next day, members of another gang are seen killing the old man and his friend. The gang leader, named Dean, is questioning the old man about the whereabouts of the females, as they are searching for women to torture. Although the old man initially doesn't reveal anything, Dean and his men beat him severely and threaten to kill him. Fearing for his life, the old man eventually reveals that he saw a couple in the nearby house. Upon receiving this information, Dean and his men kill both the old man and his companion and leave on their stylish bikes. The next day, when Mark and Mina are at their house, they hear the sound of a car approaching. Dean and his companion are inside the vehicle. Mark quickly reaches Mina, hands her a rifle, and tells her to use it if necessary while he distracts the intruders. Mark grabs a sharp screwdriver to stop them. Dean stops in the hallway, and his companion starts advancing towards Mina. Mark sneaks up from behind and drives the screwdriver into the companion's neck, killing him instantly. Mina is terrified inside the house as she has never been in such a situation. Mark then jumps directly at Dean and attacks him, ultimately killing him. Realizing that this place is no longer safe, Mark immediately starts preparing to leave with Mina. As they gather some food and supplies, a masked man appears, pointing a gun at them. Mark, forced to comply, puts down his weapons. The masked man reveals himself as Nathan. Nathan is not there to cause harm but instead speaks to Mark and Mina in a friendly manner. However, suddenly, they hear gunshots from behind, causing the three of them to seek refuge in a safe place. In the critical situation, Nathan asks if they are free and invites them to dinner at his home. Mark and Mina are concerned about who is firing at them. Just then, Nathan, who had hidden automatic guns, uses them to eliminate all the enemies. Nathan takes Mark and Mina to his home, where they are invited to have dinner with him and his family. As they are about to leave in the truck, a hostile group of members arrives and surrounds Nathan's car. The leader of this group, named Jim, notices Mark and Mina and asks Nathan where he found this couple. He expresses interest in Mina and demands that Nathan hand her over. Nathan notices that Jim has more weapons than before. Jim reveals that he had captured a military officer named Daisy, from whom he stole many military weapons, and he's not going to let Daisy go easily. Daisy, who was locked inside the truck, seems to recognize Mina. Nathan refuses Jim's demands and tells him to leave. For some unknown reason, Jim decides to follow Nathan's advice and takes his entire team away. Nathan then drives back home with Mark and Mina. Shockingly, the man Mark attacked, Dean, is still alive and watching them from a distance in anger. At Nathan's home, everyone is preparing for dinner. When Nathan asks, Mark shares details about himself and Mina, including how they are trying to reach Mina's parents. Unfortunately, they don't know if Mina's parents are still alive. At dinner time, everyone sits together to eat. Nathan's wife, Teresa, treats them warmly and serves a delicious meal. After such a long time, they enjoy a hearty meal, which lifts everyone's spirits. After eating, everyone gets back to their tasks. Teresa approaches Mina and asks about her relationship with Mark. Mina simply explains that things between her and Mark have become very complicated. Years ago, when that dangerous chemical fell from the sky, Mark and Mina were about to get a divorce. However, the situation forced them to stay together. Teresa tried to reassure Mina, saying that such things happen in relationships and that in this critical situation, they should stick together. Mark was washing dishes with Nathan and complimented the meat, saying it was the best he had eaten in a long time. Nathan then mentioned that no animals lived in the area anymore because the chemical reaction had wiped them all out. Realizing this, Mark rushed to the sink and started vomiting. He had figured out that Nathan had served them human meat, which made him extremely angry. He told Mina to get ready to leave, but Nathan threatened him, saying that if he tried to leave, he would kill them both, and their family would also kill and eat them. With all animals and resources disappearing from Earth, humans had to survive by consuming whatever they could. Mina, Teresa, and the others joined them in the kitchen, but soon it became clear that Dean had a gun pointed at Nathan's young daughter, threatening to kill her. Nathan and Teresa were terrified, and Nathan pleaded with Dean to lower the gun. Dean insisted that he only wanted Mark and Mina. To save his daughter, Nathan agreed to let Dean take them in exchange for his daughter. Just then, Stephen, Nathan's son, sneaked up and stabbed Dean in the leg, causing him to fall. Mark and Mina seized this opportunity to flee. Dean, in his anger, fired his gun wildly, hitting Teresa in the abdomen. Stephen, unable to tolerate the chaos, attacked Dean, while Nathan tried to protect his injured wife. Mark and Mina rushed to their car, realizing that no one could be trusted, but found that the car battery was dead. Mark immediately headed to Nathan's garage, where his car was kept. They both quickly got into the car and drove off without offering any help to Nathan and his family, leaving them far behind. They couldn't believe that after going through so much, they had trusted someone who ended up betraying them. It was an unexpected turn of events. Mark and Mina continued to follow the directions on the map, moving along a highway in their car. Suddenly, they were spotted by snipers positioned at the top, who were tasked with preventing anyone from entering the area due to the scarcity of resources. The snipers targeted their car and shot, hitting Mina in the shoulder. Mark quickly swerved the car and drove off in the opposite direction. The snipers ceased their attack, as their primary goal was just to stop them. Meanwhile, Nathan was seen calling Jim to inform him that his wife and daughter had both been killed, and he wanted to take revenge on Mark and Mina. Nathan was ready to rejoin Jim's team to achieve this goal. On the other side, Jim was pleased to see his extensive collection of weapons, unaware that the military officer he had captured, Daisy, was now fully free. Daisy, fueled by her immense suffering, attacked everyone in sight, wounding Jim and freeing all the trapped people. She then escaped in a vehicle, heading far away. Daisy's experiences had hardened her. She cared only about surviving, regardless of others' lives. Mark was now taking good care of Mina, who had been injured in the shoulder. Mina had been unconscious for some time, and when she finally regained consciousness, she noticed that Mark was not in the room. In fact, Mark had left a note clearly stating that he was going out to find food and instructed Mina to stay in the room and not attempt to leave. He left the note in a place where Mina wouldn't get too injured and could avoid further complications. However, Mina ended up in the garage, trying to start a car because she didn't want to stay there at all. Meanwhile, Mark had traveled to the house that belonged to Nathan. As he entered the house with his rifle, he noticed that Nathan and his son were being held captive. When their masks were removed, Mark was unable to determine who had done this. Just then, an unknown man appeared behind Mark, aiming a gun at him and threatening to kill him. With no other options, Mark had no choice but to put down his rifle. The gangster, named William, began to state his demands. William then brought out a very dangerous man named the Big, whose size was truly enormous and who looked quite menacing. William presented Mark with two options: either fight the big and defeat him or kill Nathan and his daughter in front of him. Mark was deeply troubled by which option to choose. Meanwhile, Mina was inside the house, packing supplies as quickly as possible because she wanted to leave the place immediately. She came across a music album where Mark had mentioned that it should be listened to, as he very much wanted them to maintain their relationship. Mina took out one of the records and started listening while drinking beer and dancing. However, she had no idea that Daisy, who was passing by and heard the noise, had come very close to the house and was watching her dance. After a while, Daisy left and killed Jim, who was stored in the trunk of her car. Mark had now made the decision that he would confront Nathan. Mark decided to fight the big instead of killing Nathan and his family. A fierce battle ensued between them, with the big overpowering Mark from the start. The big lifted and slammed Mark, causing significant damage. Mark struggled to make any impact, as the big blocked his smaller attacks with ease. When the big tried to strangle Mark, he bit the big's hand to break free. Mark, out of control, lunged at William and tried to wrestle the gun from him. In the struggle, the gun fired directly at William, killing him. With the pistol now in his possession, Mark was able to fend off the big. He safely rescued Nathan and his son and left the big behind, realizing that fighting among themselves would get them nowhere. Back at his apartment, Mark found Mina had drunk heavily and passed out. He carefully laid her on the bed and decided to practice shooting with the pistol to protect himself and his wife. When Mina woke up, she saw Mark practicing and asked him to teach her. They practiced shooting together, improving their skills. Meanwhile, Daisy was shown investigating their apartment. Mark and Mina then went to the garage, where Mina had found a car in good working condition. Mark was thrilled, believing they could finally escape. They were enjoying their time together, but little did they know, the car belonged to a gang that was now arriving at the same place. The gang members, dressed in peculiar costumes, quickly captured Mark and Mina. The gang brought them to a place where a deadly game was set up. In the center was a table with a pistol placed on each side. Mark and Mina were forced to sit in chairs with their hands tied and pistols placed in their laps. They were told that there were 6 rounds, and whoever survived until the end would be left alive. The controller threatened them, saying that if they didn't start firing, he would add more bullets, increasing their chances of dying. With no other option, Mark and Mina had to fire. In the first round, they managed to get through, but as they moved to round 2, the controller demanded that they fire again. Mark's gun misfired, but when Mina pulled the trigger, a bullet shot directly into Mark's shoulder, causing him immense pain and making him lose consciousness. The spectators enjoyed the scene, finding it entertaining. Amidst the chaos, some people started fighting among themselves, distracting the controller. Taking advantage of this distraction, Mina grabbed the controller's gun and shot him. She freed herself and Mark, shooting anyone who came near as she made her way out. Mina managed to get Mark into the car, but his condition was deteriorating. As they tried to escape, snipers fired at them, but Daisy, who had been watching over them, used her sniper rifle to take out the attackers, aiding Mark and Mina. They quickly got into the car and drove away. Following the map, Mina headed toward her parents' house. Unfortunately, they discovered that Mina's parents had been killed by a group. This information was relayed to them by a neighbor. Mina was deeply hurt and became very sad upon learning about her parents' death. However, the next day, her neighbors, who recognized her, started giving her a lot of food and treating her well. One neighbor explained how they used dynamite to stop large vehicles. When they needed to destroy a vehicle, they would pull a wire connected to several dynamites, causing a truck to explode on the spot. Mina was relieved to find such kind neighbors after her parents' passing. Mina and Mark were quite happy living in their apartment, but then Mina noticed a neighbor named Phil talking on a radio. When Mina asked about him, Phil ran into his house. Mina followed him and overheard the radio saying they would arrive in a few minutes. Mina realized that the neighbors were lying to her and were actually in cahoots with the gangsters. Soon, the gangsters began arriving in their cars. Mina quickly informed Mark, and they both prepared for the impending attack. As the gangsters entered the house, Mina started firing at them. The situation escalated as Daisy, who was staying one level above their apartment, began taking out the gangsters from a different angle using her sniper rifle. The gangsters also started attacking Daisy, leading to a chaotic exchange of gunfire. While Mina was reloading her gun, a gangster sneaked up behind her. Mark eliminated the attacker and saved Mina. Mark continued to shoot and take down the gangsters, but another gangster managed to strangle him from behind. Mark, unable to figure out how to defend himself, grabbed a horn attached to the gangster's mask and used it to blind him. This action allowed Mark to eliminate the gangster and ensure their safety. To save his own life, Mark also eliminated the innocent gangster. Mina then noticed a large truck approaching, which was designed to destroy all the houses. She remembered the trap that the neighbor had set up, which involved a wire that, when touched, would trigger a dynamite explosion. Mina quickly went to activate the wire. As the truck approached at high speed and touched the wire, the dynamite exploded, destroying the truck completely. Many gangsters inside the truck were also killed in the explosion. After most of the gangsters were eliminated, Daisy entered the house where Mark was. Daisy had previously given Mark and Mina their engagement drink. However, just then, the leader of the gangsters arrived in the room and killed Daisy. He then advanced towards Mark to kill him as well, but Mina arrived just in time and killed the leader. With almost all the gangsters defeated, the path was cleared for Mark and Mina to go wherever they wished. However, they realized that in this world, the remaining people were extremely selfish and only thought of their own benefits. These experiences brought Mark and Mina, who were on the verge of divorce, back together. Mark then proposed to Mina again and asked her to continue their relationship. They decided to live together alone and spend their lives together. And so, the story ends here.